This is a Hot Pie Media original.
Hello and welcome to the Amy Edwards Show. I'm Amy Edwards. This show is all about inspiring people at any age to live their dreams and become their best, happiest self by overcoming fear, building better habits, and shifting their mindset into a good place. It's about fostering those practices that make all this happen so we can just be generally happier people and feel more successful. Yeah, sounds good, right? I am so excited that you are here. Thank you so much. We have an incredible show today with a very dear friend of mine who I've known for, probably going on 20 years now. And she and I have had a long history to our friendship. And it's just really beautiful to see how it can come full circle. And I'm excited to share Andra Liemandt with you today. She's the founder and CEO of the Kindness Campaign, among other titles, but that is her main passion in life. And she has so much to share today. So I am excited to get to the episode. Please don't forget to rate and review, share with a friend if you can. It all matters in this land of podcasting. And I'm super, super grateful for all of it and watching this show grow and expanding all our voices. So thank you for being here. Let's get to today's episode. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. You guys, I'm so excited. Today is going to be my first session with BetterHelp. So far, it's been really interesting. So first, let's talk about what BetterHelp is. They match you with your own licensed professional therapist, and you get to communicating right away, under 48 hours. It is professional therapy done securely online with a broad range of expertise. I mean, broad range. When I was filling out the intake form, I was like, wow. I mean, whatever's on your mind, it's in there. And you can find, they have so many therapists to choose from. I'll get to that in just a second. But once you're in, you can log into your account anytime. It's very easy. And I know, because like logging in, I'm like, I'm so over logging in. But anyway, it's not bad. You can send messages to your therapist securely, and they can message you back. And so far, they have been very timely, and you get thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video and or phone sessions. So, you don't have any travel time. You don't have any downtime, none of that. Okay. So I signed up for a therapist, and I actually wasn't sure if he was a good fit, partly because it was a dude. I was kind of thinking, I think I need a woman. But I left it kind of open to the universe, and I got matched up with someone, and he seemed good. He seemed to really know his stuff. He seemed to be very well educated in exactly what I needed, which was a lot, right? And so anyway, I was like, all right, well, I'll give it a shot and we'll see how it goes. And then, they allow you to change therapists anytime you need to. No questions asked. Really cool, right? So I was very excited about our first therapy session, obviously, because I've been going through a lot. And he canceled. And I was like, oh no. And he sent me a message and said, I had death in the family. I'm so sorry to cancel, which happens, of course. And so I was like, do I want to wait for another one? Because it would have been waiting for more days. And I was like, no, I want to actually find someone else. And I think I want a woman. So I went on and I picked my own therapist. And so they matched me with a bunch of different people that would be a fit. And you can really choose. And so I was like, I like her. And so I matched up with her, and we start today. And it's really cool too, because when you match up with someone, they have people with all different schedules. There was one person that I really liked, but they were only available from like 6 p.m. to midnight every single night. And I thought, how badass for somebody that works till 5. So the point is, like, if you're like, I can only do this at 11 at night, there's options for you. 100%. So I thought that was really, really cool. So they want a good therapeutic match, and they make it very easy to change therapists and to figure that out if you want to do it. And it's also more affordable than traditional offline therapy. And we even have an offer for a discount for you. It's 10% off. It's a special offer for listeners of the Amy Edwards Show. You get 10% off your first month with BetterHelp. That's HELP.com/AES for Amy Edwards Show. So just visit BetterHelp. They have an absolute ton of reviews on there that you can go check out if you need more. And then just go to betterhelp.com/AES. That's BetterHelp, HELP. And you can join over the 1 million people who've taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. BetterHelp.com/AES. So excited to bring today's conversation to you. And the interview is really amazing. Andra is so educated in emotions and our experience of them. And she shares it so eloquently. So I'm very excited to share our conversation today because I learned a lot about what I was going to talk about in my intro. So here we go. I wanted to talk about anger. Did you hear my voice just crack? It did. It just cracked a little bit. I am going through a period of anger. So I have been exploring how to deal with this. I have felt angry at other times in my life, for sure, like intensely angry. I'm divorced twice, so of course, I'm going to feel that. Of course, if you've ever been divorced, you know what I'm talking about. So, or even if you have been close to it, or even if you've had any relationship struggles, I'm sure you've experienced some intense anger. And I've been listening to this book, Codependent No More. It's classic, Melody Beattie. I'm listening to it, and there is a whole chapter on anger. She explores Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's 5 stages of grief, of which anger is one, right? Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. These are messy. They all get mixed up before you get to that acceptance phase. And I can understand that, right? And grief, is not just about death, of course. We can grieve the loss of a job. We can grieve the loss of just any situation or a relationship. Or maybe it's just the way that we thought things were, and we have to grieve that. It comes about in many different forms in our life where we have to grieve. And we can have this just mix of this melange of emotions. And I am experiencing anger. It's no secret around here at Hot Pie, and it's going to be no secret as this podcast comes out and Justin's show comes out, my whatever we want to call him. He relapsed and is going to treatment. And so next week's episode, actually I recorded before this one, but I talk a lot about trusting myself. And as I moved into trusting myself, I realized a lot of what was really going on. And one thing that came out of that was I knew I had to shift our relationship. And I was just so mad. So mad about the situation. At him too, but also just at the situation. I didn't experience anger toward myself really. But there's this feeling that you have, and you're like, what do I do with this? And in the book, Codependent No More by Melody Beattie, she has a chapter on anger, as she talks about Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's 5 stages of grief. And she says that we have been trained and conditioned to think that we have to do something with our anger, like kick and scream, like yell, like get it out in some actual physical way, or I don't know, vocal way. That's physical. And she's making the point that we don't have to. Just like other emotions, we can sit with it. And it is not a comfortable place to be. You know, and I know. You want to do something. Even if it's just something like have a drink. Even if it's just commiserate with a friend, right? Dwell on it. Drag that carcass out and beat it some more. But what about just sitting with it? And you're going to feel it in your body. As I was exploring this idea of like, okay, what do I do with this intense anger that I'm feeling? Because I did explode. I did have a complete and total outburst, throwing pillows. I haven't wanted to beat someone like that, maybe ever. It was intense rage. And I'm not familiar with that. I know there's people with really bad tempers. I'm not really, that's like a part of the emotional landscape that I just have not traversed. And so, I mean, bits and pieces, I will hit moments where I've gotten so angry, but this was a new level of emotion for me, or at least so unusual that it was very unfamiliar. So as I exploded, I did get it out in that way, but it didn't feel constructive. As I started to cool off, I wanted to send emails. I wanted to do all this shit. And I was like, okay, a little part of me, a little voice was like, don't do that right now. Just back off. You know that you're in a fit of rage. Now is not the time to send any emails. And so, or texts or anything, right? And so I found myself like pacing the floor and breathing hard and just like not knowing where to put it, what to do with it. So, and I think that can come with any really super intense emotion. We don't know where to put it. We don't know what to do with it. Whether it's anger, whether it's depression, sadness, these biggies that are negative. This probably could be said for big ones that are positive too. I don't know. So I had to think, how do I navigate this? Because I had just listened to that chapter where she was saying, you can just sit with it, which was a kind of a novel idea for me. So I happened to run into a friend, my friend Kristen, the very next day. I thought, I'm going to go to yoga. I haven't been to yoga in months. I'm out of shape. I noticed that I was coping by eating. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to at least take some steps there. So I went to yoga, ran into her, and it was such a beautiful coincidence. And I said, what have you been doing? And she said, well, I've been sitting with my anger. I was like, you don't say. And so I said, what did that look like for you? And she said that for her, it looked like feeling it in her body, in her chakras, in her root chakra, in her sacral chakra. And as she sat with it and paid attention to it, it moved through her body. She could feel it in her shoulder or in her heart at some points until it will move out. It will transmute, right? It will alchemize. It will turn into whatever's underneath it. It will show you what's underneath it. And that's what she said. She goes, until I realized what was underneath it. And I was like, because there's always something underneath it. But sometimes it just flat out feels good to get mad. You feel like you're punishing that person, but you're not really. But it just feels satisfying in some way. But then you're stuck with this rage and you're like, what do I do with it? I looked up anger management too, because I was like, okay, maybe I need to understand anger management. Like, what is anger management? Am I managing this? So I looked that up and I was like, I'm not really that's not really what this is about, because that's for anger prevention and control. And those are tactics for people that deal with anger all the time and have to figure out ways to cut it off at the pass. So this is more like, okay, it's there. What do I do with it? So I think that is the difference. So many times we are encouraged to let it go, just let it go. And it's like, what does that mean? You don't just let it go. It is there. Like, I don't know what that means sometimes. So I thought, what tactics can we use to just sit with it? To just sit with it. To just allow it. Just like, I am angry. Well, we can breathe. But let me back up. First off, we can admit it. Admit it. Like I'm admitting it right now. This is actually therapeutic for me. And I'm just breathing and admitting it. There's just a bunch of anger there, right? And feel it in your body. It was very interesting talking with Andra today because she has some really cool tactics around this and really cool thoughts around this and about feeling it in your body. And that's exactly what my friend was saying too. how can you feel it in your body? Because if we really tune in and tap in, it is there. So can you just feel it from an awareness standpoint, right? And I'm not saying you have to do this for a really long period of time, but I am saying that there is value in doing this. And it is tough. And am I doing it? Yes, I'm doing it. I am just allowing this anger, and I'm being honest with him about it, and with my children. Like, this is where I'm at. And I felt it flare up again yesterday. And I was like, okay, here's where I'm at. And he was like, I can feel that. And I was like, I bet you can. So that's good. To be able to express it in a calm way is, I would say, turning a corner with it too. Right? So I was like, I'm still very angry, and I don't know if you or I are grasping the reality of this. And I mean, like, even my body is reacting. So I'm just trying to have compassion for those spaces where my body is reacting. When I say my body is reacting, it's because I'm like snoring and sleeping weird. And I feel like my body chemistry is off in some way, which, why wouldn't it be? Right? It's intense. So can we just have that compassion and kindness for ourselves when we're in those spaces? Step into an awareness, breathe and admit it, communicate it in a calm way. Understand that a lot of time we want to punish, and that's not our job. It's not our job. I was going to say it's not constructive, but I don't know if that's right. I feel like it's just not our job to punish. So, because it really punishes us because we're sitting in this anger. So how can we figure it out and know? As I was feeling that, I went somewhere and the woman had a huge tattoo that said, "This too shall pass." And I was like, okay, I'm seeing that for a reason. This too shall pass. It shall pass. Emotions will pass. They all do. They always do. So can we just sit there with it until it does, until we feel it move out of our body, until we see what's underneath it. And then I can get to the sadness. Then I can get to the worthiness aspect. Then I can get to whatever it is that I need to actually do the work on, which is essentially just sitting with that too. Essentially just sitting with that, not coping with it in any way, but just dealing with it. Oh, hey, hi, how are you? Andra says, name it, talk to it. Jade Bryce said that a while back. It's good advice. So can we take that advice that we hear and actually use it when it feels a lot better to go commiserate with friends, to gossip, to take unhealthy tactics, to eat, to drink, to, I don't know, smoke something. I don't know. There's a lot of unconstructive ways, right, that we can cope. But when it comes down to it, it's still there. So I hope that this gave you some ideas on what to do when you're feeling intense emotions like I was. Sit with it, allow yourself to feel it wherever it is in your body. Breathe, observe, give yourself time. I'm giving myself time. And be honest about it. You don't need to hide it, even to your children. Kids get angry. So I think there's a lot of value in saying to your kids, hey, I'm going through some anger right now. And, then you're also not taking it out on them, which can be a difficult, it can cause some damage and that you might have to undo. And we don't want to have to do that. So I did learn a lot about this particular thing too in our conversation today, because we discussed some anger and kindness and just all the emotions that are in there, because her focus, our guest today, Andra Liemandt, is kindness. But there's so much more to it. So I am so excited to move into this conversation now. And I bet you are too. I've known Andra for a long time. And when I went to tkckindness.org, their website for the kindness campaign, and looked at her bio, which she's the founder and CEO, among other things, she's also has a band called the Misses. And I was a member way back when. And so we've known each other a long time, a lot of water under the bridge for us. But as I read through her bio, I was just amazed with the very, very long list of accolades and work that she has done. She launched it in 2015, and they've grown from 5 schools to 82. They grew that in 2 years, and now they're serving over 40,000 students with a curriculum that is about social emotional learning. I wanted to get that right. SEL, social emotional learning. It is incredible. She has partnered with Erin Condren, Bumble, Kind Bars, Dell, Nordstrom, Lady Gaga's Born This Way Foundation, and they have brought their tools and on-site programming to kids and adults across the country. And she's been speaking all over the country on kindness and bullying. She gave a keynote for AT&T and IBM conferences, Paul Mitchell schools nationwide, National Charity League. She's a recipient of Austin Woman's Way Business Award for Social Impact in 2018 and was a finalist for the Phyllis Richards Austin Icon for Children Award in 2018 as well. So it goes on. She's done all sorts of things, and a lot with her band, The Misses, as well, which is centered around I am enough and really bringing a positive, emotional message to everyone. And so I'm excited because she's learned so much. She's had her own things go on in her life that have taught her in the last year or two. And her learning has just skyrocketed, I would say. And to see our relationship take the turn that it has. We met back up about a month and a half ago at a memorial service for my drummer and really good friend, and he was her friend as well, Yates Hagen. And I know I've talked about Yates in the past. He died suddenly last December. He fell on the stairs in his house and never regained consciousness and passed away after being in a coma or being unconscious. And so devastating loss. I still can't believe he's gone. So we were at his memorial, and she just grabbed my hand and said, I'd really love to catch up with you. And it just really felt like time. And I was just really open to that. And it was such a breath of fresh air for us to meet back up and talk really openly. And so I think that there's an underlying message in this episode too, that no matter what, we can approach other people with kindness and love and compassion and understanding, and we can see each other, right? And really see each other. And that is a really beautiful thing. So I'm very grateful for how this came about. I'm sure Yates probably had a little hand in it. And I bet she would say the same. So I was just excited to share her voice and her message because she has worked hard to transform a very tragic event, which was her close friend's daughter dying by suicide at age 12, into something that can prevent that, which I think we can all agree on. Let's prevent that. And that is how she got started on the kindness campaign, which we actually cover why she said she'd never been asked this, why she chose the word kindness too. So that's interesting, very interesting. And she just shares a lot about her own personal transformation into this work. And if you feel called to do something like this, what that really looks like and how you should feel about your life's purpose. Like, you better love the shit out of it. So, because otherwise you can get burned out. And so we talk a lot about burnout. We talk a lot about some of her own habits and tactics and making time for certain things for her own mental health and how she handles that. So I'm really excited to bring you this conversation today with Andra Liemandt. don't forget that you can check out the kindness campaign at tkckindness.org. And then we cover one of the new platforms that they're working on. They're also doing KindGym, which comes out in the spring, kindmusic.org, which is a really interesting concept that she tells us all about today. So I'm very excited about that. And of course, you can follow her, Andra Liemandt, anywhere on the socials, ANDRA Liemandt. And of course, all the links are in the show notes today. So I'm very excited to bring this conversation today with Andra Liemandt. Stick around to the end because we will have an affirmation and a quick wrap up. I was just thinking today, I was like, I may burst into tears. I don't know. I just was feeling a lot of emotions this morning. And I mean, I feel them a lot, but I feel like they're just running high.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
What do you do when they're running high?
Well, sometimes I lean into it, and I just go with it. Mm-hmm. And then other times I think, I mask it, I mean,
do you?
Yeah. Like I just kind of move through it and I
think I do too.
Yeah.
I think I'll keep it together.
Yeah.
To keep it together. Like if I have to do something professional today. But I mean, honestly, I had a feeling this morning, and just thinking about it, I get emotional where I'm like, I was like, make it through this without losing it.
But, that's natural for everyone. And, you kind of have your standard go-to ways that you deal. And it's kind of embedded in you from the way that you were either going through childhood or, just kind of what feels known to you. Mm-hmm. And even though, we all work on ourselves, I know you've done a lot of work.
Constant. It's constant.
And as you gain new skills, you kind of repattern to try to break free from some of the things that don't feel good for when you get in that habit of, oh, wait, I'm masking. But we all have those moments where we go back to what is just a natural state of like, oh yeah, this is my safe zone. I'm going to go back and I'm going to do things that are natural to me. And I do that all the time. And then I catch myself like, oh, okay, I'm definitely in the space of like, what is my norm, like whether it's zoning out at the TV, mm-hmm. I'll find myself doing that. I'll just like turn something on.
I bet people look at you and they don't think that you do that.
Oh my God, no! I'm like I can't see. I can't read another help thing. Do another Brene Brown talk. I'm like I can't do another podcast. I can't mm-hmm. put anything else or
It's full.
I can't take in any more information. I don't want to talk to anybody. Yeah. I just want to zone out and watch some show that's not educational and that's like slapstick fun and just zone out. So I do that, aside from being with my family. But those are the things I do whenever I just, aside from taking really long hot baths.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that a regular practice of yours?
Oh, yeah. Doesn't matter what time I get home. My husband probably hates that.
Do you do it every day?
Yeah. Last night I got home at 11 o'clock, mm-hmm. 11:30 from a meeting and run a hot bath, get in the bath.
I need to do that more.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Epsom salt. I do the bubble bath
mm-hmm.
from Amazon. I keep that on repeat, but that's a great
from Amazon.
From Amazon. I don't know.
I love it.
I'm like,
no, good.
It's like they're tired of me, like repeat order. But yeah, I think that it's my way. It's my next phase, and I have a hard time going to sleep to shut it down. And so that is a way for me to know that, okay, my body's like, and it's time for her to go to bed.
Why do you have a hard time going to sleep? Does your mind race?
I don't think it races. I kind of ask myself that a lot too. It's almost like I don't want it to end.
Oh,
like I don't like the days to end, which is horrible because I'm.
You want to keep going and getting things done, or
it might be that. And I was having this conversation just yesterday. Tali is my director of communications, mm-hmm. and we came together through a crazy way. I was going to write a book. That's now 5 years ago.
Books take a long time.
They do. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yes.
Yes.
And so it's shelved right now because other things took priority.
Okay. Yeah. That book I wrote, it took 12 years, Andra.
God bless.
12 years. I know. Yeah. I was like, would I have done this if someone had told me it was going to take 12 years? And I was like, probably not.
Yeah. It's still there. And it might morph later, but
it might. It might not.
I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
It came, but what did come from that was she and I spent a lot of time together because I'd never written a book. And I was like, how do I do this? And so
I've been surprised you didn't write a book, actually.
Well, there's a lot of stories there. And I would be excited to do that part whenever I feel, when it gets higher ranked in my priorities. But
maybe it just naturally flows at some point, you had other things going on.
Yeah. And the thing that came out of that experience was this deep relationship with Tali, who I somehow convinced to come work hand in hand with me with the Kindness Campaign. And
I saw her name on the team.
Yeah. She's become just such, just a deep, like a dear friend, like somebody that I bounce ideas off of, but lean on. I think she's just got this great, she's a mentor. She's a friend. She's just somebody who I admire. And so we riff a lot. Like we set up time to just do this. Like we talk and we bring up topics. And so one of the latest topics we've been talking about is burnout. And through that conversation, we were talking a lot about how do you turn it off? So back to our conversation is like, why do I not turn it off? But when do you say that if I keep going, it actually is at the sacrifice of? And what I think is a really common problem is that we think that we're getting more done, but in reality, we're unraveling all the things that we could be doing the next day. So it's an important topic, and it's something that I believe we all need to work towards, is finding those boundaries for ourselves. And I don't know that there's a perfect answer. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I really enjoyed that conversation with her. I know. Were you ready for me to drop it on everybody?
Yeah.
And here's the solution. I do have something to say about that. And I think you do it really well. I've watched you over the years, and I know that you and I dabbled in it when we became, really interested in music together. But through play, it really helps that and I have other entrepreneur friends who do this as well. But play is a key to igniting that inner child in you, and really helps prevent and get through or over burnout. Because whenever you start really looking at yourself in that way and allowing yourself space to do that, you can overcome, and you can really kind of expand your thoughts. You can start to see things differently. And it gives you freedoms that you just didn't have before. And those are a lot of the tools that I've been creating and focusing on. And that's some of the things that I think we don't allow ourselves forgiveness to do. And those are the things I try to do.
We're too hard on ourselves.
The bath is my transition. It's to me,
that.
I used to say, I was like, I don't have time for baths. I said that for years. I said that for years. I don't have time for a bath. Why? Why don't I have? So every night I take a bath now.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of things that we say we don't have time for when we do. We totally do. We just aren't making the time for it.
Yeah. Why do I not have time for a bath?
Right.
I'm like, well, that seems silly.
Or it's the same with play.
It's really good for my skin, by the way. My skin is rocking now.
I bet it is. I'm going to do this.
I know.
Yeah. And it's the same with play. I think a lot of people can get caught in that trap of thinking that they don't have time for that.
Yeah.
When really, it's kind of more about that than anything else. I mean, yes, it's about helping people and getting things done. But at the same time, if you're not enjoying life and laughing and being,
right,
what's the point?
Right. And that can look different for each person. I mean, it can be very aligned with your values. It can be aligned with, what you are wanting, your goals and what you're wanting to achieve. Right.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have, it can be silly and it can be fun and it can be all about just going out and playing, but it doesn't have to be going out and partying, getting drunk, and that's playing. It can look different for every person. And it can be very much about getting on the floor and playing with your kids.
Yeah.
But it's about allowing yourself. I've seen it. I remember that struggle of, oh, wait, I have all of these things to do. Do I really have the time to dedicate to learn something new, or dedicate to read a book, or, take the bath? So those things are play. So, but if it aligns, like learning, I recently learned, I'm learning a couple of different things. I'm trying to learn about that whole world of Bitcoin and all of those things, which is a whole topic that we don't have to get into, but I'm trying to learn because
it seems relevant.
It does. Yeah. And I want to see how it relates to nonprofit world and how it speaks to each other. And why not?
A lot of nonprofits, that's what they're accepting now. They're setting up accepting Bitcoin and stuff. You should.
Yeah. So I'm like, ooh, but at one point I thought that doesn't really speak, like that's not my world, but why not?
Mm-hmm.
And creating a metaverse. I just created a metaverse for kids to play in and to explore emotional health in that way. And
is that what you were talking about with like the KindHouse, KindGym, KindMusic, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So
Metaverse.
Yes. So I know, right?
Very buzzy word right now.
It is, right? Well, very. But we created that, months and months ago, right? That was a project we were doing during COVID to transition to bring tools to our children that needed spaces to play. Our Title I kids needed, it's behavioral health kids. So that's really these kiddos that are needing more attention, more tools. And so to be able to create a space, it's created it's a tree house. And Katy Perry actually, she had the team that worked on her one of her latest music videos and all the video gaming stuff. I don't know if you remember her video. It's a video inside a video, which I think is so cool.
Oh, it is? Do you know what it's called?
Oh, gosh.
I'll look.
Yeah, look it up. Okay, yeah. So AA Labs is the team that did that. They hired their developers did that work. And the same people that did that did our KindHouse.
Oh, cool.
I think when they told me that, I was like, well, okay, it's gotta be rad. It's gotta be like the coolest thing. And the kids will connect because when you're building where they are and live and watch and
no, it was something in Ready Player One. Sorry, keep talking.
Now I'm like, I want to look.
I know.
But yeah, so when you're building where they are and you're, in those spaces, obviously it needs to be relevant. But so to be able to do that, I felt like I was playing when I'd show up to those teams. Of course, I had no idea what, I'm like, what are we doing? And they're like, it was like I was interior decorating in a space with them. And they're like, oh, do you want the chair to look like this? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, plop it in. I'm like, wow, that was so cool. And so
that's what they're all doing, like Roblox and whatever else. I mean, that's what Gigi's doing.
Yes.
So let's see. Katie's Quest. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Katie's Quest. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So, so it was really neat to see, when you kind of expand the walls of what play into your own kind of universe of what you think you can and can't do, it actually helps you see the world differently, and it provides a space for other people to do the same. It's kind of,
I think I incorporated a lot into just even this show and things like that, because I don't want it to feel so serious all the time.
Yeah.
Like if we can all just relax a little bit and take a breath. Like even you coming here, I was like, just relax a little.
Yeah.
Just we're not stressing about this,
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day, it's a podcast. At the end of the day, it's a song, you know? Like, I mean, yes, you're working toward a bigger mission, which is me helping people use their voice and change lives, and you helping people, overcome ACEs or whatever it is, serious issues. But, can we all just lighten up just a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah. And that would be, I think, a great message as we are in the world moving a little bit to lighten our load.
Yeah.
Right now, I think it would be helpful.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and I say that, but, I'm sitting here at the same time planning my intro today, and like I'm harboring a whole bunch of anger right now that I'm figuring out how to deal with. And that's what I'm going to talk about in my intro. And, so I say that, but then I'm like, you're also feeling very angry. So we all have all the emotions. Yeah. And I guess I found that interesting too, as I was thinking about like anger, because I just feel like I have to talk about it today. But you're about kindness, and we're not saying that all these other emotions don't exist.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because actually that's really important, that all those emotions you should feel good with all of those emotions. One of the things that I think has been, I'll use this word. I think it's overused, but I don't know another one.
That's
maybe
okay.
you can help me. You're really good with words. I like
do
your
like
words.
I
know. I love your words.
Thank you.
But we're just very polarized right now in the way that we're moving through life with our anger and with our sadness and with our fear and some of these concepts of emotions that we maybe aren't used to having in our bodies.
In our bodies,
just in our bodies, we've grown attached to them, and we've decided we're going to keep them. And so
I don't really want to keep this.
But there's also some studies and things that I've been playing with that people are, because they haven't been as familiar, maybe they were just going about their life and now all of a sudden they have a new friend called anger with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking to you as if I'm in a classroom.
Please do. I mean, talk it down to me. I like that.
So we have our new friend, Anger, that lives with us.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do we have a relationship with Anger? And what are we doing to support Anger in a healthy way? And so
I like that.
So because it's okay. Anger can live with us, just like that TV or that movie that came out. I forgot. We're
Inside Out.
Inside Out.
Yeah.
Yes. So just like that, right? Except we need to do the work. And that's one of the things I've been kind of really working on is developing a program. It'll launch in the fall. It's KindGym. But
that's what we're talking about. When does that launch?
It launches in the new year. In the spring.
New year, in the spring. Okay.
Can't talk.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Spring.
In the spring, fall. Where are we?
I mean,
I feel like we're just in this beautiful little cave here.
I know, right? We're floating around the galaxy.
And we've got lights and it's so pretty. When it comes out, the hope for everyone is that they realize that they can accept those emotions as they come into their bodies.
Oh, so is that what KindGym is? It's about working out these emotions?
Yes.
Oh, I like that.
And we're launching with athletes, but this is an app for everyone. And the reason why, and it's a collegiate, so we're launching with our older, like our college program. That's where we'll launch first because we've been working with our younger kiddos. But where we think the need is right now and where a gap is in this area here and to adults, right? So what we want to do is really normalize this idea that, yes, I have anger. Yes, I have sadness. Yes, I have fear. But when it comes into our body, how are we responding to it? A lot of people say, I'd love to have more joy. I'd love to, but we don't even begin to study it or know what the definition is or to go down that journey of exploration of what it looks like to have it in our life. Mm-hmm. And so it's a program where we'll do modules where it's micro-learning. Nobody has more than 5 minutes a day to even begin to want to do this. So it'll be quick 5 minutes.
I'm all about that.
5 minutes. I do it while I do a Bible study 5 minutes every morning while making my eggs. Mm-hmm. Everybody can do something for 5 minutes and multitask, drive in the car. And so it'll be learning module and then activation where you put it into practice the next month. So 1 month you're learning. The next month you're actually doing it. By practicing each emotional muscle, you strengthen it. It's just like being in the gym. That's why we call it a gym.
I got that. That's so cool. I like that.
So with your anger and what you're feeling, the idea is that you will begin to explore that emotion, be comfortable with it, be comfortable with her. You
anger
can name
in particular,
her.
It's tough to be.
I know talk about the color. Yeah. You can say, what does anger look like for you?
I like that.
You can start doing all these things so that when you have her or him or whatever you want to call anger in your life, that you can move through it in a healthy way, not react, but be active with it. Mm-hmm. And then be able to take care of it.
It's kind of like stepping into an awareness of it, where you can just be like, it's not me. It's just part of this experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I like that. And it surprised me getting as angry as I did. I've never gotten that angry, I don't think, in my life.
Whoa.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Really, really angry. And so you're like, I've seen you get pissed, Amy. I'm like, okay. I know. Okay. I know. And I was
my interest is piqued. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, God. And so, it's just been a very interesting process too, to explore that exact thing. Like, how do we do that? Because I really feel like there is, at least I'm just noticing like real movement in what you're doing into this exact thing.
Well, I think that, and I just want to tell you, I'm hear you when you say you're angry. And I usually when I hear people talk about emotions, I want to like dive right in. So this is like everything for me to be like, wait, what?
I know.
And not be able to dive in. So I'm going to be like, later? Just
I'm going to tell you
what's going to happen. I'm going to have to help. I'm like,
I can probably say it now. I think I'm going to say it in the intro, but Justin relapsed and is going to rehab. And so and it's no secret around here now.
Yeah.
But I was just so mad. I was just so incredibly, like, I can feel it, like, so that's what it is.
That is, yeah. And
and I don't understand addiction very well. So that's another just sort of facet of it. So I'm trying to understand that. So anyway, it's a learning process. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, it is. And you are allowed to feel all of that. Yeah.
We all are.
Yeah. Well, I'm, as someone who is not intimately involved in that kind of space right now, I can say that I can hear you, that must be very, very difficult to be in, because I know how much you deeply care for him.
Yeah. And we live together. My kids are involved, stuff like that.
There's a lot there. That's complicated.
A lot.
But I know that there's ways to work through that.
Thank you. I know there is. I know there is.
Yeah. And I see your heart for it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So
I can relate on a different level. And I know that we had some moments where I shared some personal things, but I can relate on some levels of over this past year of some things that were pretty heartbreaking for me in some ways that angered me as well. And I think what I'd like to talk about is when you are looking to someone to as they're looking at their life journey and making commitments, and you're rooting for them, and then they don't stand up to everything they said they were, and what that can do to you as someone who's a supporter, and how do you continue on in that journey when they are doing their own, and I relate on that level of what it feels like to give everything you have to support. And in a different topic, so I'm here with you in that, and I think that the support is very similar in what the work has to happen on your side, letting go to let them live and do their journey and still support. And a lot of that is putting in systems in place for the family and open dialogue and communication, which I know you're doing. But those things, those systems, those family systems, and the support, and then the very, very crucial communication has to happen.
Here's a question. Let me see if I can phrase it right. So through this process of what I went through with him and the anger and all that, I was asking for, like, from God or whoever, how you're like, gosh, I really want to trust myself more, or whatever it is, or I really want to learn X. When you went through your last year, do you feel like there was something you were asking for? Like, I really want to be closer to my family. And then you get handed it in this way that just blows your mind and gives you all these emotions. And you're like, wait, not like that. Hold up.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I got what I was asking for. And I also started asking for feeling like what a real, true, close, intimate love relationship looks like. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'm getting that too. It just comes about in a way that really, like, shocks you. Do you feel like maybe there were things that you wanted and then now you got them, but they came about in a weird way? And what would those things be?
Okay. So you just
have you ever thought of it like that?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I think, so let's back to trust.
Yeah.
Back to trust is like, obviously it's the bedrock of so many things. And I'd like to start with that, because I do believe that trust is a bridge we create to many different people in our lives, and even situations. So I look at trust as a way that to me, this may go against a lot of what people think and feel about trust, that once it's broken, it's never repairable. I believe, but of course I'm a person of hope. And I believe that if it has been damaged in some way, you can get those builders out there and start building if you put the work in. but it takes everything you have, and you have to focus on it, and you have to put the work in. And so you may have one bridge over here under construction while you've got these beautiful trust bridge happening, and you can look to those trust bridges to give hope to the bridge that you're working on. And if you look at your life this way with all these bridges, it helps cement a foundation that helps you move forward for these questions you're asking. Because if the foundation is trust, and then you have love that's built on that, and then you have all these other things, and you have this purpose in your life that you're looking for. Hopefully it's with the higher goal of joy, right? So we all want joy. We want to live a joyful, purposeful life. And you've got that out there. You've got this trust, and you've got love, and you're just building all these things. And then you realize I have all these emotions all wrapped up in between. And so it's a sandwich effect. And so if you've got all these layers and you've got it all in between, and you have these very important questions, did I call this into my life? Did I ask for this? The answers, I don't have them for you, but the answer is, where am I in all of these layers that I've created in my life, and my values, and how I've set them up? And I may have called this into my life because I need these things. The bridge needed one more brick. My joy wasn't quite aligned to my value yet. So have I done that work yet? And when I figured that out, that answers these questions. And for me, I needed to do some work. My values and my values are my family. And I deeply care about my work, deeply. And I know that I deeply care about my friendships. And I know that some of that was out of line in the order in which I was doing it. And so over this past year, it got in order really fast. And I'm very, very happy about that.
Sure.
So, yeah.
And you find gratitude in the hard things.
You do. And
because ultimately, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful that it blew up the way it did,
Yeah.
It needed to.
Yeah. And I think, and that's when you can be open to your surroundings, to your situations, and look for the good. I love this line. Look for the good in all that happens, all your surroundings, everyone around you. And if you look at people and their intent, and when things come at you and you're like, what's the good I can find in that? Then there is where you can build your life. But if you're constantly looking for the distrust, for the bad that was in that situation, it's really hard to build a life on that.
It's cynical. And it all builds on each other. It's a habit.
You work that muscle.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
That's
so,
good.
Somebody said, and I always, my background's in kinesiology and fitness, right? So a lot of times I'll relate it to the body. I think that my study of the body really has played out for me a lot. And, somebody was like, why would you, maybe I shouldn't, but why would you, I'm like, I don't want to, I love to spin and I love spin classes, but some people were like, why would you want to hop on? This was a trainer I was following on Instagram. Why would you want to get on the, go and spin and work your quads, if you want to work your glutes. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't want to work my quads right now. Why would I want to do that? Has anybody ever gone in the gym going, I want really big quads? No, they're like, I want a good butt, And so he was relating it to that. And I'm like, yeah, has anybody ever said, yeah, I really want to be like angry, really want to have like, I really want to be like mean to people. People are like, no, I want to live a joyful, purposeful life. Well, what are you doing to get there?
Right. What habits are you building around that? What are you working out?
What muscles are you working? Are you working anger? Are you constantly distrusting people? Are you looking for the good? Are you looking to work those muscles so that when those moments happen, when people are in your life doing things that, wow, really let you down, really are causing things in your life to explode, how are you showing up for them? When someone gets on the elevator and they're not wearing a mask, or they're wearing a mask, or whatever's happening, and they are out of their mind at you, how are you responding? Are you saying, hey, how can I be here for you right now? It looks like I'm not showing up the way you need me to right now. Or are you angry at them? Because we all need to heal. Everybody needs to heal. And the minute that we can start walking in each other's shoes to say, okay, I'm going to be here in this moment with you and help you today. I'm going to put my stuff aside and I'm going to be here with you. How can we do it together?
I love that. I love that. And I think taking that a little, flipping it just a tiny bit too, instead of just saying like, how am I showing up? But also just through the pandemic, one of my go-tos now, whenever I see inflammatory posts or whatever it is.
Yeah.
My thing is just like, they're just doing the best they can, and like that person in the elevator or whatever, I think that I am able to really revert to some compassion and kindness in order. And that's what it is. I just go, everybody's doing their best, including him in that situation, including like your family, including everybody, right? Like we're all just doing our best. And so I think I just find a really lovely space of allowance when I adopt that attitude.
I love that too. We're just doing our
myself.
best. Yeah. Every day. Like
every day.
100% timing is not my best attribute here. Like I show up just a few minutes late, can't quite, I'm strapped thin to the max on every end, Zoom to Zoom, right? You're like 5 minutes. Oh, I'm almost there. They're like, where are you? You're like, I'm coming. So, and I'm like, I probably say that mantra a lot to myself. Like, I'm just doing my best.
Just doing your best.
And
can you give that to other people?
Yeah. I'm here.
That is like a big part of kindness, I would think.
Yeah. I'm doing everything I can, guys. I promise. And I think the times where I feel that the most is when for my kids. Sometimes I'm like, God, I'm just doing my best. Like, when I go into that parent conference, I'm like, oh, okay. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be 5 minutes late. Oh no, they're going to hate that, and they have them 15 minutes long, you're like, no, really?
Yeah.
What are we going to get done in 15 minutes? But yeah, you're like, oh God. Yeah. And I know you are always so timely. So I love that.
I try.
You do
try.
You do it well. But I am working on that. It's just, I think that's where I give myself grace. Yeah.
Grace.
Right.
Good word.
I do that and I say, I'm doing my best. And, or I'm, this is where I am right now. And so those are the things where I'm just like, okay, here I am. But those are the things where we can tear ourselves down for sure, is where we know our weaknesses or our soft spot for where we consistently have this place where we show up in a.
Yeah. Or just holding ourselves to some sort of standard.
Yeah.
You've always been a little hard on yourself.
Uh-oh. Is this going to get...
No, I just...
I don't know.
No, I know you have. And
yeah.
It's okay if you're 10 minutes late. It's just,
Yeah.
You knock out what you can. And then, I don't know, I've just gone way easier on myself. And I don't know if it's a product of getting older or what. I just am like... I've done that for a long time. And all of a sudden, I think when I turned 49 too, I was like, I'm really tired of that. And I was like, what if I just don't do it anymore?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, if people get mad, that's not my responsibility.
Right. True. And then it's like those layers start lifting and those people stop communicating with you.
I suppose so.
They're like, and so we're done with her.
Okay, maybe that's not what we want, but I do want to go soft on others too.
Yeah, for sure. No,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, so why was it the word kindness for you? Because I don't think I've asked you that at all.
Yeah,
like why was it that word in particular?
You know what? That's so great. No one's really ever asked me that.
What?
I know.
I thought, oh my God, I'm probably asking her something that she's been asked 1,000 times.
That is such a great question. And actually, it was very purposeful.
Cool.
I know. Mm-hmm. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
Of course, you're the word guru here. Yes, I did that. Everybody at the time when it was going on, everybody was... the anti-bullying programs were no place for hate and all the things. And I, obviously when I started the kindness campaign, it wasn't because I was trying to start something. It was more out of, I always say the kindness campaign kind of started me. Like we all kind of started this together, and it was just like a need that was calling to me based on my sweet friend whose daughter committed suicide. And it was something that I felt called to do.
Yeah.
And in that, I thought, what is something positive that I can bring to this whole messaging? And kindness felt like a word that brought such lightness and celebration to really something that was tragic, to a situation in my life. And my girls were so little when that happened that I didn't even honestly know how to talk about it all to them, about their friend. And, suicide was such a...
like an abstract concept to them
yeah,
at that time, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was just so deeply devastating. And so I wanted to create something that seemed like more of a party, more of a, like, let's do this because, and at the time also I wanted to create something for Kate, my oldest, to connect with some of her schoolmates with this journaling. She was older, so I thought, oh, she could journal and this would be fun at school. And that was a whole kind of launching of it, was like this fun exercise in her classroom. Obviously, it's gone well beyond that. But, and we created a plush doll and we were naming him. And he was very reminiscent of something I had at Stanley Elementary, my elementary school.
In Victoria,
Texas. And so when we were creating all of these things together, it felt like kindness was what at the heart of our conversation. Of we would write some of the journal prompts. It was about, stories that they were living out at their school and like things that were happening to them. So kindness felt like the right word. That's a long way to get around to it. But I mean, it wasn't like anything I was like I said, I mean, when I started this, it was actually called See It, Say It, Write It.
Oh,
that was the first, I should start with that. It was called See It, Say It, Write It. And because I was like, you should see it, you should say it, and you should write it. I am enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started growing. The kindness campaign started growing. And I was like, okay. And then I realized I had to get like an Instagram and all those things. I was like, okay, you can't have See It, Say It, Write It. And like, it was just so much. And I had to come up with like a name. And I was like, this is all about it. So that's kind of how it morphed.
Yeah. Like what's underneath that.
Right.
And kindness is a way, especially if you're talking about someone who died by suicide, it's a way of finding some joy without saying joy or happiness,
Yeah.
Which I like.
Yeah.
You want to find ways to be happy. And sometimes it's just as simple as like, can I just be kind in this moment?
Yeah. And I'm hearing it more and more. And when I started, people were like, kindness is so soft. And when I met Tolly, who I was just talking about, she was like, we need to start developing some science behind kindness. I was like, yeah, let's get some research behind it. So I was constantly trying to figure out how to get data from launching to figure out the tools we were creating. How were we developing them? How were the kids responding? How did the teachers like them? And because people were saying that kindness was so soft, and how do you message kindness? And I'm like, well, you just go out and do it. I was like, and here's
what was the science behind it? Were you able to quantify something about that?
So in the early days, it was really hard to get that data from the children because it required a lot of signatures and red tape.
Oh.
But what we could get was from the teachers. And what we could get was having them fill out surveys and filling out huge questionnaires on the response of the children engaging with the curriculum, as well as how did the teachers enjoy it. We had super high ratings. I couldn't quote it right now to save my life, but it was like 97% of teachers implemented the kindness campaign. Over 98 or 97 saw the students saw a greater response in what they were using. So it was something like that. I can send that over to you. But the response was overwhelming within our first couple years of response of enjoyment. The way we created it was, my girls were very involved in the art. So I wanted every single page was approved by my girls, like from the art design to the way it looked to everything.
So sweet.
It was so fun. I mean, I was like, okay, do you like this my youngest Elle would say, I don't like the clothes on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Or, we wanted it to be diverse. Even back then, I was saying we need to have, a nephew buddy was adopted. He was blue. I wanted to call him E at the time. I didn't want him to have a pronoun. But as we made it bilingual, we had to, because Zach Scott Theater did a play on him, and we had to call him he. But he was always E to begin with, because I wanted the children to go on a journey with him, with E, and decide for themselves who E was. And then we wanted children to everyone to feel represented in the curriculum. And that was early on, because I was like, I don't know who's going to be looking at this. My mom being a school teacher, I kind of was her guinea pig growing up. And I just kind of felt like these were things I heard her saying.
Yeah.
Even back then in Victoria, Texas.
How do you feel like this has transformed you?
That's a really big question.
It is. It is.
I'm so grateful for this being in my life. I get to work with kids. I get to work with students when I'm on site. It's one of the best experiences I get to have. I feel it's that I get to do this. It's not that I have to do this ever. I wake up and I feel that my life is so full. I get to create every day in a space where there is so much room for innovation, room to help children, rural communities, Title I, even to our schools, our private schools. There is such a growing need for this curriculum, for tools, whether they're online, metaverse. I'm constantly creating new things. And I've always told my team that if someone out there is doing it and doing it well, let them do it in the space. Let's go do something totally different. Let's go do something that is unique to us. And that's where I get to play and create. And so what it's done for me is it's allowed me to be in play mode all the time. And it allows me to connect deeper with my children, with my husband, and friends. I feel, I've never worked harder in my life.
But not been more fulfilled.
Yeah. I mean, when we talk about burnout, I do feel like I wish I had like at least 10 more people that work for me. I can't make that happen right now. I wish I could, I wish I had more, there's all these things, but I wouldn't change it at all. Yeah, I love it.
That's good. That's good. What do you say to people when they have some fear around starting something like this, or doing something, or jumping in
nonprofit space, or in emotional health, or just entrepreneurship?
Take your pick.
So I was just working last night, mentoring UT students. We had 15 minutes. I don't know what's so great about 15 minutes. It's not enough. 15 minutes mentorship group. And there were 8 different groups. And I got to hear their pitch, and then I would help them. And there was a couple that were coming into the space for emotional health. And there were some going into the space of beauty, and all these different groups, right? And so incredible to hear them and to hear where, I feel like they're the next thing. They're creating new things. So my advice, I had a lot of advice for them, but people coming into the space, my biggest takeaway from them is when you are starting out anything for entrepreneurship, or especially nonprofit, if you are not connected deeply to your mission, to your why, to what you're doing, and have your values aligned to that whole topic of burnout, that whole topic of, being able to stay with it.
You won't be sustaining it, right?
You can't do it. Yeah. You can't inspire those to stay with you. You can't make it happen. You've got to be able to do that, because you are leading the way in all of that. And the most important
So you
thing.
better mean it.
The most important thing is that you are able to love it every day more than everyone else.
You do.
You got to want. I'll share this story because I don't know how you felt, but I'd love to hear how you felt during COVID. We were set and ready to. I mean, I had things canceling left and right.
Yeah. Sure.
Heartbreak after heartbreak. And we were set and ready for South by.
Oh, yeah.
We had a booth, a large booth. We were rolling out our Kind kits. The amount of time, we were exhausted. My whole team was exhausted. And the amount of money that went into prepping for that for a nonprofit was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you, I sat on the floor when this hit. And I realized I had to change everything I had just been doing and built. And I was tired, beyond tired. And I had decided to basically start over. I had to decide. I sat crying on the floor and I called one of my best friends and I said, I have to make a decision and I have to tell my team that everything we're doing does not exist. And we're starting over and everybody get to work. But I have to decide because I have to decide if I want it. How bad do I want this? And I slept on it and I got up and I decided I wanted it. And we worked around the clock to bring digitized curriculum to schools and to help them. And it was so hard. It was so hard. But there was a moment where I was like, do I want this? And that is what an entrepreneur has to decide is if it all falls apart tomorrow, am I equipped to stand up, rebuild, and rally a team?
Mm-hmm.
So.
So love it and mean it.
Love it and mean it. And how did you feel?
What, during the pandemic or? Yeah. I didn't have anything so tangible, in my life, like building that. So it was an easier transition for me because I was already doing things that were very voice related and, digitized anyway.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
God.
Sorry.
So I just felt a whole wave of I was sitting here with all this reflection of what it felt like. Yeah. I mean, I could just picture me sitting on the wall in tears. And
I imagined all the businesses that felt that way.
Oh my God.
I mean, I was so devastated for everybody.
So hard.
Mm-hmm.
But because we did it, we know we can.
But of course you can.
Oh my God.
Of course you can. You can.
I think everybody just wanted to stay in a ball for a little bit.
Yeah.
We're done.
That's okay. And actually, that's one of the great things to come out of the pandemic is that you need to curl into a ball for a little while, go ahead.
Yeah.
You just go ahead. It's all right. It'll pass.
Check back in.
This too shall pass. Yeah. And then you get up and you do eventually get it done.
Oh, but the funny thing, sorry, I cut you.
No, you did not.
But the funny thing is we were like, okay, here we go. So we create 3 platforms. 3. And now we're having to promote them all. We were all like, oh my God, what did we do? we're launching 3 platforms. Most people launch 1. I'm like, oh my God, but we needed it in each of these spaces. And we're like, oh, okay, we got this, everybody. Okay, woohoo. So it was one of those things where you're hitting for the fences. You're like, this is what we're doing. I came out like a lion.
How's the response been for you're talking about what? KindMusic, are you talking about all those things too?
Yeah, so we have KindGym, which launches in the spring. I'll get it right. So I have so many things I can't keep up. KindGym is launching. So that app it's got final touches happening, will launch. And then we have KindHouse, which is already launched. It's launched into all of our 60 schools nationwide. And then we have our KindMusic, which we haven't even talked on, which is
we should
so
talk
fun.
about that because I didn't really understand what it was. I had seen you talk about it, but I went and looked at it, and it's cool because people can write their own song, submit it, and then it gets recorded.
Yes,
essentially.
And we've already put it into practice. We've already done several. That came out of a very big need.
Did you sing one of the songs?
No, but I'm gonna have you do it.
Come on. No, I'm too old. Let's get Sydney.
No, I have sang on a couple of the songs. But we're hiring other artists. The whole point of this is to put artists to work. So think of it as like Uber for artists.
Oh, cool.
So they can pick up gigs.
Good elevator pitch, Andra.
I'm trying.
No, that's good. That's really cool.
Yeah. So I'm trying to really kind of help fuel our artist community. As I saw all the doors shut for my worlds or that world for me, I really kind of had a heart. And I've been on a lot of leadership, music leadership groups and things over the years to understand a lot of the struggles that the artists have had.
Oh, for sure.
And being one, it's just
nothing like being an independent artist to
have your whole life shut down.
Yeah.
So the whole idea of this was to start something where we could reach anyone who ever wanted to write a song, teach them how, tie it to emotional health. So they're getting all of that embedded in it, and then hire artists and put them to work. And so that's basically the very simple version of how it works. We can host it on site, which we're doing coming up for a women's group. And so we'll be hosting that workshop. We can do it in corporate settings. You can do it just as a masterclass on your own. You can have your family song. You can do, your corporate songs, and you could also purchase it for a school. We have a couple schools right now teed up to do it. And we've already done it. We did it for the Austin Police Department for camps over the summer. So we've been doing it, and it's been a really fun project. That's one of my favorite times, is to be on site helping kids unpack, emotions, think about how they're coming across writing lyrics. And it's really a fun process.
I know it is a fun process. Yeah. It's about getting super honest in it.
Yeah.
And that's challenging. It's just like everything else. It's a muscle and it's a practice.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so
cool.
So that one's done. That one's fully baked. It's out there.
Yeah, it looks
People
great.
can easily, purchase it, do it. Hit us up for it.
KindMusic.org.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. How many artists do you have on there now?
So we have a handful of artists, and you can't see them on there, but more artists can apply to be, it's kind of like Uber, right? You want to,
my daughter could apply as an artist.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
She should.
Yeah. I've got one right now that wants to intern, I've got different people, but so yeah, we take new artists. We've got a handful of, different levels artists that are coming to us to be a part of this.
Oh, they should be, right?
Yeah. And we've got one who actually helped teach the class on how to write, she got the golden ticket to go be on American Idol. And so is that right? Yeah. American Idol.
Oh, cool.
So she's in that process now. And so she's like helping teach, and it's, on the masterclass.
That's so awesome.
So it's super fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she might be singing. I don't know. She's kind of busy now.
And that was one of the initiatives that you thought of when you had to regroup?
Yes.
Wow.
That came out of a need because I had an event I was going to do in Dallas with 600. It was a national charity league. I think you're.
I know what. I don't know. Yeah, okay. I know it for some reason.
Yeah, but it's in Dallas, and we had been hired. I had been hired to speak and then to do that event. And we were going to do a music workshop there on site. And because we had a form of this we were doing, but it was in person. And when that all shut down, we were like, ooh, how are we doing this? So I did it over Zoom. And what came of that was writing a song with, close to 600 women, moms and daughters over Zoom. And we changed it up, but we had to have a flow because otherwise it wasn't going to work. So we created this little mock website. And doing that, and my band performed, and we did the whole, we did it. And we created bands, and it's team building along with it. So there's a whole process you do. Sure. So you name your band, and so all these mom-daughter teams did it. And the song came out with Shine Your Kind. And then we did a music video with it. It's super cute. And they had like toilet paper. They had the best band names ever because it was during COVID. And so it was really cute. That came together. And I was like, we really need to foster this, make this happen. I think we could make this happen as a masterclass and put it out there for everyone, for schools. And so what we're doing is we're aligning it to ASCA standards. So when it goes into schools, there's an assessment as well as how to use it throughout the year with curriculum. So it's a curriculum piece when it's rolled out in schools.
Wow, that's cool.
So, but for just the everyday, anyone who wants it in their corporate setting or in your family, you want to do the class, it's very simple online. So it's got a lot of legs to it. And we've been building that out. And really, I think as everybody, has just learned to figure it out, we've been just figuring it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, we just figure it out and do our best.
Yeah.
See how I brought that back around?
Yeah, I love it.
Well, we're getting close to time because I know you have a hard stop and I don't want you to be late to your next thing.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, you're welcome. But remember, you're doing your best if you're late. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. So what did you come in with an intention about today? Did you come in with it? Did we cover it? And like, what's on your heart to make sure that you share before we go or reiterate, whatever it is?
Yeah. I love where this went today. I really, if I was to think about anything to leave everyone with, or just to leave you with, I'm very appreciative of this conversation. I feel like I was able to share a lot about my thoughts and opinions that are things that I like to talk about that are me.
Yeah.
And how I share with my friends, and I consider you a dear friend.
Yeah.
So I think I love that where we've gone today, and I think leaving today and leaving everyone in a place where they can feel like okay with where they've been in their journey over this year, and to know that kindness and wherever they are, that if they walk into that situation with that grace and forgiveness for themselves, and knowing that they are doing their best, and that just looking for the good in those people around them.
Well, I think you and I did
this
that
year
just with our own friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a long period where we didn't even talk, and now here we are because we're approaching it with those things.
Yeah.
So in a big scale, in a small scale, however you want to look at it.
Yeah. I think forgiveness, grace, compassion, empathy. This year, we need all of that. And I'm so appreciative of our friendship. I always have been. And I love where we are.
I do too.
I really have enjoyed this conversation.
Oh, me too. I'm so glad you did it.
So love and
so
light.
Glad you showed up, and love and light. So let's make sure everybody knows how they can find you. Would you mind sharing all your handles? And I'm going to put them in the intro, the outro, and they'll be in the show notes. So everybody can just click and find you, and they can find all about TKC.
Yes. Okay. So you can find me at Andra Liemandt.
Liemandt. So
that's a lot. Mouthful. And you can find me on Instagram and everywhere. That's how you find me. And then you can find the Kindness Campaign at tKCKindness.org. And then all of our channels are the same, TKC Kindness.
And then there's KindMusic.org too, if you want to go straight to that. But it's all linked on your website, which is very easy to read. They're very easy to get around your website. So
perfect.
Way to go on that.
We're still working on a lot of things. Thank you.
Websites are their own beast. But and it looks like it's really easy to sign up for your newsletter too. So if people go to events, it pops right up. So So congratulations on everything.
Thank you. And you too. I mean, gosh, this is so beautiful here. And
thank you.
It just felt really good being here. I just really appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm just grateful to have this space that I can share voices like yours that are so powerful and impactful, and working on changing the world and transforming not only your own life, but everybody else too. And just doing your part, sister.
Just showing up.
That's right.
Just a little late.
You might be coming this late. I love it.
That's going to be on that'll be on my tombstone.
Perfect. Huge thanks to Andra for the way she showed up today. Late? No, I'm just kidding. The way she showed up with her whole heart today. And I think as she left, we were chatting and she was like, I really didn't know, what we were going to talk about or how it was going to go. And I'm just so thrilled that she trusted and jumped in, and I did too. And I feel like there's so much value in there. And I hope that you felt that too. If you did, please rate, comment, review on the podcast. It really means a lot when you do. And don't forget to follow her at Andra Liemandt, or that any link in the show notes. You can find her on Instagram, Facebook, wherever. AndrLiemandt. And then also you can find everything that we talked about at tkckindness.org and at kindmusic. I might have said .com earlier, .org. KindMusic.org. So big thanks to her. And I hope you will go follow her and check that out. And I hope you'll share it with a friend. If a friend came into your mind today, always share it. Trust that you are being led in that direction because somebody needs something, right? We all have all these emotions. I think I'm taking off after this to go process some of my anger. Oh, good times. I'll let you know how that goes. I'll definitely keep you posted. Follow me on social media because I'll be talking about it too. I'm at Real Amy Edwards or at The Magic Babe on TikTok. And I think that I didn't even prepare with a affirmation before I sat down to give you one today. Usually I do. And I allow. That's what I feel. I allow. Fill in the blank. You allow it. I feel that in my heart right now. Can you allow the flow of life? Friends that might come back. Or maybe the way you show up. Maybe they don't. That's okay too. Can you allow it? What about your anger? Can you allow it in an observer way, in an awareness way? Say, yeah, it's an emotion. I'm human. I have them. I allow my humanity. And I allow my own love and compassion toward myself. I allow myself to feel like I'm mad at myself sometimes. It's okay. It's not forever. This too shall pass. It always does. So again, thank you to our guest, Andra Liemandt, today and thekindnesscampaign.org. Thank you to our team at Hot Pie Media. I owe them an especially big thank you this week with everything that's gone on. They are like a family around here, and I'm really, really grateful for the calm way it is around here. And I hope it shines through because it's true. And so I'm just really grateful to be sitting in this chair and to know these people. And thank you, Alyssa, for running the board today and handling all of our technical aspects. Very grateful to her. And very grateful to you for being here, for everything, for helping this podcast grow, because it means, the world to me. Big time. Let me make sure there's nothing I forgot. Oh, subscribe. Did I say that? Follow, subscribe. Remember that I've got a lot of free resources on my website, amyedwards.com. If you just go to resources, or I think that's what it is, you can sign up for my newsletter and then everything's there. I've got meditations. I've got some worksheets, things like that, all stuff that you can access for free. And I just love to connect more too. If you want to reach out to me, Amy at amyedwards.com is how you can find me, how you can talk to me, or of course, hit me on social media. I try to check my, requests as well pretty often. That's at Real Amy Edwards. Anyway, I just love you so much. We're all just here doing our best. If you leave with one thought today, hey, we're just doing our best. They're doing their best. You're doing your best. You're doing your best. Everybody's doing their best. Yeah. Can that bring more compassion? I think so. I love you so much. You're killing it. You're rocking it. You're doing great. You're a fucking badass. I love you so much. Find that gratitude for being human, I guess. For having all the emotions, for having feelings. At least we feel, right? So here's wishing you peace and love and health and wealth and joy and bliss and abundance and allowing and moving through it all, and all of it passing as it does. Till next time.
Thank you so much for listening. If you liked this show, please rate and review. It totally matters. And I encourage you to spread the love too and share this episode with a friend if you feel called.